Today I want to talk a little bit about nature, and perhaps we'll make a series of programs or clips about nature. We all know how therapeutic it is to go and sit in nature, or to walk the beach, or to go to the woods, or to a park, or indeed to just be in your garden. It's healing. It's not surprising, because it's only relatively recently that we stepped out of nature, in a sense, and into houses and cars. 10,000 years ago, agriculture took hold and people settled, and that was really the beginning of our moving away from the natural world, or controlling it. Before that, we'd have been gathering food and living in groups and moving around. So it's not difficult to understand why we are attracted to nature. Why? Because we're still hardwired to it. It's still in our genes. It would be surprising if it wasn't. And today I want to look at clouds. And to start, I want to read a Sia Indian prayer. White floating clouds, clouds like the plains, come and water the earth. Sun, embrace the earth, that she may be fruitful. Moon, lion of the north, bear of the west, badger of the south, wolf of the east, eagle of the heavens, shrew of the earth, elder war hero, intercede with the cloud people for us, that they may water the earth. Clouds often don't get a very good press, especially here in Ireland. You know, even our language betrays us somewhat. Black clouds are gathering, it's ominous. If you're under a cloud, you're under suspicion for something. And we can get annoyed with them too for blocking out the sun. But sometimes they can be absolutely beautiful as they gracefully move across the sky, as they are doing today, as I sit here in just behind the monastery in Glenstal Abbey. We can miss these clouds, as I said in a previous clip. We can become over familiar with them, not notice them. I go back to Hegel's saying the familiar, precisely because it's not familiar, is not known. So we need to start looking at the things around us that are familiar. Today, in our busy and our productive economy, we almost feel guilty if we stop and allow ourselves to drift with the clouds or to gaze up at them. We seem to be wasting precious time. But it's good to wonder at their beauty and their slowness as they drift across. So even in a city or a large town, you can watch the clouds. Nature is with you. We don't need to travel anywhere to see them in the world. We can stay right where we are, and they're with us. I often think in childhood, when we used to watch them, we've many happy memories of time spent looking at the clouds and finding different shapes in them, galloping horses or different shapes, giants, goats, I remember. And we'll all have our own memories. And I think that's what we need to draw back to. Our imagination was free to play. Now, cloud watching won't change us But it might slow us down and bring us more into a calm, meditative state of being. Thinking about the clouds won't change the climate, but it might remind us that we live in an atmosphere of air. It's all around us, and the clouds are part of that. I often think we realize it when we put our hand out the window of a car and you feel the air, the rushing air pushing your hand back, because it's there, even though we don't notice it when we're walking around normally, or the plane takes up by leaning into the air and off it goes, and it keeps it up there. So it's not that we live beneath the sky, we live in it, within it. It's all part of us. So I'm suggesting that why don't we take some time to just gaze at the clouds as they drift across the sky and allow them to waft us into a different space. It's a lovely excuse to do nothing and to become open again and let our imagination loose that we may have lost touch with, and recognize that it's okay sometimes that we live with our head in the clouds. Now, there is a cloud appreciation society. If you Google it, you'll find it, and there's lots and lots of members of it, and people writing poems and all sorts of appreciative messages about clouds. I have also made a 2-hour video of clouds just moving across behind a Scots pine fir tree, which you'll see in the foreground. Beautiful red bark and the sun on it and the clouds moving past. And you'll hear birds and you'll hear the wind in a eucalyptus tree close to where I was sitting, and you'll see the leaves of that eucalyptus tree in the foreground too. So even if we can't hug a tree, then, or at least if we can't hug human beings in this time, we can hug a tree. So I'm going to end with a piece from The Cloud of Unknowing, because clouds have even got into the realm of spirituality. And this is a quotation from chapter 3. For the first time, you lift your heart to God with stirrings of love. You will find only a darkness, and as it were a cloud of unknowing. Whatever you do, this darkness and the cloud are between you and your God, and hold you back from seeing him clearly by the light of understanding in your reason, and from experiencing him in the sweetness of love in your feelings. And so prepare to remain in this darkness as long as you can, always begging for him you love. For if you are ever to feel or see him, it must always be in this cloud and in this darkness. Amen. Enjoy the clouds.